morning. Welcome to a new episode of the Social Media Scene. On today's episode, we're talking about Instagram. Lots of Instagram news for you to be aware of. Specifically, we're going to talk about Instagram changing possibly the way you post the stories and the formatting. We're going to talk about hiding likes per post, tell you about that new test, and Instagram looking even more like TikTok. So we got a lot to catch up on today regarding Instagram and a little bit more social media news. But all of that and more is coming up next. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back. Welcome, everybody, to a new episode of the Social Media Scene. Let me fade this music right quick. Get that out the way. Wonderful. Happy Friday, everybody. How you doing? I hope everybody is doing well. So, this episode of the Social Media Scene is all about the gram. For the most part, all about the gram. I've got some other little news too, because it is a big sports weekend. So I want to tell you a little bit about where you can go to catch your replays, because I know 9 times out of 10, you're going to want to see the replays of all your favorite sports action from the Super Bowl. So I've got a destination for you that you probably don't know has been sitting under your nose for a little while. But today, thank you for coming to this new episode of the Social Media Scene. I am Alice Fuller, Principal Consultant at Sheer Social. Now, what in the world do I do through Sheer Social? Well, through Sheer Social is where I do some social media marketing, but primarily training and consulting. I do some teaching too. And also, for some of you, I do one-on-one consulting. I do group consulting, businesses, the gamut. But also, too, this show, the Social Media Scene, is where I tell you every week what is going on in the world of social media. Now, I don't share everything, but I try to keep it condensed to how I think you're using social media for businesses specifically, and for play too a little bit. So we're talking about primarily a lot of Facebook, a lot of Instagram, YouTube, and every now and again I'll sprinkle in some Pinterest, Snapchat, and TikTok every now and again, because technically every couple of months there's a new platform to learn about. Seemingly, some come, some go, and then some stay around for decades. We have that. So for those of you that are new, what I need you to do is go ahead, share this stream with friends and frenemies. Share this stream with friends and frenemies in those places and spaces that you know conversations about social media are happening. Now, for those of you that watch the replay, you know every week I say the same thing. And for those of you that come live every week, thank you. Y'all already know what to do next. So while y'all are doing that, let me give you a breakdown again of what we're going to talk about and why I'm choosing to talk about primarily Instagram this week. In case y'all haven't figured it out, Instagram has become the new Facebook. What do I mean by that? I would dare say for a lot of you, when you are doing your social media strategies, as you're looking for the platforms that best suit your purposes and your needs and that of your audiences, you are looking at Instagram as the go-to. It used to be we looked at Facebook as the go-to, and a lot of people still do. But there's so much growth going on with Instagram for good, and some of it may not be all positive either. But Instagram right now is the social media king or queen, depending on how you want to look at it. TikTok is moving fast into becoming a powerhouse, direct competition with Instagram. So you know that too. But we're focusing on Instagram because I know a lot of you are really beginning to not necessarily put all of your eggs in the Instagram basket, but a lot of them. So we got to talk about today a couple of things. One, there's a lot of testing going on with Instagram. Some of these tests, 9 times out of 10, are going to become a reality. Like first, Hey, Daniel Myers, how are you? So, thank you. Thank you. Looking good. Wonderful. Do I sound good too? Wonderful. Hope so. So, at any rate, when we start talking about Instagram, what we're going to talk about today, a couple of things. One, Instagram likes, hiding Instagram likes. The reality of it is, we've spent the last, 5, 6 years, especially as social media managers, telling you all about, hey, Curtis, telling you all about getting likes, quote unquote, the low hanging fruit of engagement. Okay. Only problem is we've now turned it into something more than it was ever meant to be. And I'll tell you why I say that in just a few. Also, have you noticed more and more, like I said, TikTok is literally eating at the heels of Instagram popularity. We don't even talk about Snapchat as much as we used to in being direct competition with Instagram. We're now changing how we talk about the competition, and Instagram and TikTok are really beginning to fight it out to a degree. And technically, it is a fight. I don't want to put it, in those terms, but when you think about how Instagram now is already beginning to figure out what makes TikTok tick and copying that. You're going to see more of that as time goes on. Good or bad, you're going to see Instagram trying to stay ahead of the game. Also, when we start talking about stories, we've been telling you for the last, 4 or 5 years. Stories have been around a little while now. So when it comes to stories, we got to talk about too, Instagram is testing changing how you post to your stories. And I think this is not a good thing. And I am not alone in my thinking, luckily. So that's the breakdown for today. So let's go ahead and get started with the first story of this here day. So let's see if my graphic works today. Does it work? Does it work? No, it doesn't. Every week I do that. It's always something in pre-production I forget. And there is that one thing that I forget every time. But nonetheless, just imagine a clapboard going across the screen. So let's go ahead and get to the first story for the day, which is hiding likes. I know a lot of you, when we get down to it, hiding likes could be a positive or a negative, depending on how you look at it. Now, for those of you that are pro hide likes, I get why. And Instagram understands it too, because there's a lot of negativity right about now. Not even right about now. It's been going on for a little while, but it hasn't really become main stream as far as Instagram and social media as a whole, yes. But just Instagram, not so much. And what I mean by that is we have turned likes into some sort of validation badge. If you don't get enough likes on your post, then evidently it's not worthy of getting my like. So we're looking at how many likes a post will get, and then we're judging whether, based on that, whether it's worthy of your like, or our like. That's becoming a problem, because when you tie your mental health to social media, you're going to be in therapy. I'm going to tell you flat out. You go ahead, find your local or maybe somebody online that'll talk to you every week, because we've gotten to the point, especially younger demographics, of tying so much of their validation, how they see themselves, how other people see them, based on what they put on social media, which is a travesty. So Instagram has decided, you know what? We already were testing, hiding likes for influencers. That was years ago. Not everybody experienced that, but some influencers did. And of course, a lot of them were like, a lot of them were mad about it, thought it would hurt their overall business. And for, I'd say the majority, I don't think it really did, but the perception was there. So now what Instagram is doing is allowing us, regular folk, you may deem yourself an influencer or not, everybody in this test will be allowed to hide the likes on their posts. Now, I'm a lowly little person on the Instagram totem pole of things. But even I have this feature uh, on my Instagram app. And it's real simple. For those of you that want to hide likes on your posts, now remember, it's a test. You may or may not have this, but if I have it, then I suspect a lot of other people do too. Because usually I'm not included in the Instagram test, but this time I am. So let me show you this. This is what I'm referring to. When you go to a post of yours, here you go. Go to a post of yours and you go to those three little dots. I want you to hit those three little dots. Now, usually this is where you can delete the post, you can archive it, you can turn off commenting, edit, copy the link if you're going to do, copy or reuse that particular post in your particular news feed. That's fine. But now you got the hide like counts. The question is, why would you want to do that? Why would you ever want to hide likes on a post? Well, again, for a lot of people, the likes have become more stress than anything else. So hiding the likes kind of frees you to just post the content and not worry about posting just for likes. Okay? So we as social media managers, we to a degree have played a role in this too, if we're honest. But at the end of the day, we've begun to post content just to get liked. And we get the likes so then we can brag about how many likes the post has. And then it's just a bad slope, a downward slope. So Instagram is like, you know what? We're trying to change the culture on Instagram to a degree, basically try to pull things back in, reel it in a little bit. Instagram says we want our followers to focus on what you share, not how many likes your post will get. The idea is to try to depressurize. Is that a word, Adam? This is the head of Instagram. Adam, I think his last name is Mazuri. I could be saying it wrong, so forgive me, Adam, should you be watching. The idea is to try and depressurize Instagram, make it less of a competition, give people more space to focus on connecting with people that they love, things that inspire them. Well, yeah, that sounds all nice and everything in the press release, but the reality of it is when so much of your success on Instagram is based on engagement and the likes are low hanging fruit, then you've kind of built a monster and they know it. So, like I said, they also want to make sure that they do not feed any further into mental health issues stemming from using the platform, especially you young people. Now, you old people, and I shouldn't say old, but if you've grown, and what I mean by grown is at this point, you got a job, you got a house, you got kids, you got mortgages, you got alimonies, you got stuff that grown people have. I would hope you have not gotten into this trap of validating your presence on any platform, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, with just likes. Okay. So hopefully test it out. Hopefully you'll test it out. If you feel as if hiding the likes on your post frees you up to create, to post, you're not worried about, doing it just to get likes, do so. If you are in that mindset of, I'm not about to hide likes because I understand that marketing is more about behavioral things than often just the tactics, then I get that too. So at the end of the day, you can test it because this is post by post. Maybe one post you turn likes off, another post you keep likes on. So Instagram says this change won't affect measurement tools for businesses and creators. All of your analytics and your stats will still be accessible whether you hide the likes or not. So you don't have to worry about that little piece of the puzzle. So is this a good thing or a bad thing? I think testing wise, I say this is a good thing. And I'm going to give Instagram some applause on this. Just a little bit. That's enough because I don't want, Instagram doesn't need any more ego boosting than it already gets. Okay, so like I said, test it out. See first if you can do it on your phone. Just go to a post, click those three buttons, see if you get the option to hide your likes, and then, test it out for maybe a week or two and see how you feel about the whole situation and whether it changes your minds about using likes or leveraging likes. All right, so let's move on to other social media news because there is more to discuss regarding Instagram. So, next, I want to tell you about Instagram moving toward looking like TikTok. Now, on one end, Instagram doesn't want to be TikTok, but they're doing I almost said every damn thing they can, which is not too far from the truth if I'm honest. But they're doing a lot to look and feel like Instagram, okay? They don't necessarily want to be Instagram, but they're doing a lot to look and feel like TikTok. So right now, Instagram is internally testing, as they say. So this ain't available to everybody. They're testing changing the feed of stories. Now, right now, if you're on your phone, don't test this now, but when this show is over, if you're on Facebook and many of your social media platforms, the stories are horizontally across, and that's how you access them. They're going this way. Here's one, you go to the next one, you go to the next one, you go to the next one. Okay. That's how it pops on Instagram. However, on TikTok, you scroll up and down, right? Instagram is testing whether they're going to have access to stories. You'll have access to stories by scrolling up and down. Once again, can't you just stick to what you got already, Instagram? Really? Technically, Zuckerberg, if you're listening, don't you get tired of being called on the carpet for copying everybody else's stuff? Weren't you just in front of Congress just last month for borrowing or copying other platforms' features so that they can't compete with you? You just want to stay in trouble? Is that what this is? People have been just fine the way stories populate their screens. To my knowledge, I haven't heard anybody complain about having to swipe right or left. Not a soul. We're accustomed to that anyway. But scrolling up and down for stories, that's what TikTok has been doing. TikTok has made it, their thing. And at the end of the day, it's nice to have something that separates one platform for the other. If all the platforms began looking alike, what's the point? What really is the point? But nonetheless, this is just a test. Just a test. I can't necessarily say this is going to be a thing. But if you see it, don't think something is wrong with your phone. It is not. There is nothing wrong with the app. There is nothing wrong with you, with how you're using it. It's just the fact that at this point, Instagram is testing a lot of things so that they can stay in competition with TikTok. Whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, I think it's a bad thing to a degree. You got to test. That indeed is true. So, Curtis, you say, what about the marketing psychology? What do you say here? You say, uh, what about the marketing psychology and what others like and how it encourages others to like our content? That indeed is true, kind of group think. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't have to rely per se on the popularity contest. Okay? If you're producing content that people like, it's great that a lot of people like it. But when you're going into crafting your content, You're not crafting it in such a way where and you're thinking everybody and their cousin is going to like this. You're crafting it thinking, okay, this might be a value or this might be something fun that my followers, however they may be, may like, or may be of value, or maybe of value to people uh, that see it because somebody in my following shared it. We used to do this a lot with blog posts too. And blogging, we used to talk about blogging all the time. And you really don't hear a lot of people talking about blogging as much as you used to. But at the end of the day, it came down to when you went to a blog post and you saw the comments, it's like, ooh, look at all these comments that people put underneath this blog. And as a blogger, it made you feel good about yourself because you felt like you created something that a lot of people liked. And then slowly but surely, comments began to fade on a lot of people's blogs. And then eventually, people began to wonder, well, is your blog even worth reading at all if you don't have quote unquote comments? So you see a lot of corporate blogs now and some other people's blogs. They don't even have comments enabled anymore. Those days are pretty much gone. Gone far away. Bye bye. Will they return? Don't know, as far as blogging is concerned. But if you keep playing with people's emotions, and like I said too, as grown folk, attaching your whole business success to whether a couple of posts get liked or not is not the strategy at all. Your first thought should not be about getting liked. Your first thought should be about providing some sort of value, even if it's entertainment. That should be the first thought you go into creating your content. But it's almost like when people ask me, hey, can you make me a viral video? No, I can help you or produce for you a video that may go viral, but I can't make it go viral. Well, technically, too. Yeah, you could cheat at making it go viral. You could go over to Fiverr and pay somebody to light your little video up with, people in Russia and some other pockets of the world, and they'll do what they do. But the reality of that is those individuals, they're not going to become a customer, not they're not going to become a subscriber. So that's why the mindset has to be different. Yes, you want to be liked. Who doesn't want to be liked? Who doesn't want to have their content liked? But we're going down this slippery slope where we're chasing the wrong things. We're supposed to be attracting, not chasing. That's my life mantra anyway. But if you're chasing the likes, then you're doing the wrong things to begin with, as opposed to creating and crafting content that attracts the engagement. So anyway, that's a whole therapy session. That's a whole different conversation. Not to get too deep in it, but just once again, it proves that there's a more psychological element to marketing than people give credit to. And unfortunately, sometimes, if you've seen The Social Dilemma and some of these other documentaries lately, you understand just how powerful that can be for those, especially for those who attach their validation, how well they're doing, how they feel about themselves to what other people have to say. All right, so let's move on to other news because there's more that I want to say regarding Instagram. So that said, so you'll have, like I said, the scroll potentially up and down for the stories. If you see it, don't be alarmed. That is just a test for now. In all honesty, the test that Instagram is doing with the hiding of likes per post, I think that's going to become a real reality, probably in the weeks to come. But this scrolling up and down of stories, I don't know. I really don't know. But my gut is like, they'll probably stick to what they have once again because you meaning Facebook, who owns Instagram, have already been called on the carpet for doing this thing before. So you don't want to put yourself in a situation to once again have to go before Congress and stay in front of Congress trying to say, yes, we do what we do. We want to foster good competition when flat out your goal is to squash all competition. Okay. So let's move on. Let us move on. So, speaking of stories, now this is the one that irks me to no end. When it comes down to what Instagram is proposing to do with how we post to Instagram stories. Most of you are probably, really trying to use stories to your fullest extent, to your benefit. Because for the last, 3, 4 years, we've been telling you, even as social media managers and social media experts, whatever we're calling ourselves these days, we've been telling you that stories is the raison d'etre to a degree of Instagram. Not that your feed isn't important, it is, but Instagram stories is what was being favored because it was hot. Is that still the case? The question becomes Instagram stories versus reels. Which one is Instagram favoring most right now? I would dare say reels because it's new, and because it's new, they're giving more shine to it as a platform. So, should you do reels or should you do stories? That is the question. But in this particular instance, Instagram is moving or playing around with stopping people from sharing feed posts in stories. Now, this to me is problematic. Why is this problematic? Okay. For those of you who are just struggling to get your little Instagram strategy together, and trying to create original content, for those of you trying to create something of value, of entertainment, whatever else, and it's a real challenge for you, then being able to rely on other people's content has been a help. In some cases, yes, it could be a crutch. But for those that are getting started, it's you can use other people's content, as long as you get the proper attribution, things of that nature. The problem is with Instagram is really, really pushing more original content, which is not a bad thing per se. But when you're struggling just to get your feed together, use stories, generate this content all day, every day, or however often you do it, whether you're doing it yourself or whether you've hired the quote unquote expert, it becomes a labor, not necessarily of love. Okay. So with Instagram moving to stop people sharing feed posts and stories, a lot of companies are going to realize that user generated content that they were relying on. You've seen various stories wherein a company is doing a certain campaign, they're promoting a product, yada yada yada, and they've instructed their fan base to, hey, create a post and use this hashtag and tag us in this and that and the other. All right. But if they're only using they're only using their feed post to do that, and Instagram says, hey, we're going to stop you from sharing people's posts in your stories. So now you're going to have to, as a company, you're not going to be able to use that user generated content unless it's in stories already. Okay. So that's my major gripe with this. For those who are kind of struggling with Instagram already, and this is Instagram's way of forcing us to up our game, basically for their gain in many instances than for yours. Because every piece of Instagram right now is monetized. Every element of, from the stories to the feed to IGTV. You can monetize Instagram Live. So it's become an e-commerce situation. And what's not e-commerce is surrounded by advertising. And I think that's the real reason that they're pushing or even thinking about stopping you from sharing content that's already there in somebody's feed into your stories because they don't want quote unquote duplicate content. I don't think it's really that big of an issue. I really don't. Now, they'll say, we hear from our community. I would love to know to hear, I would love to find those people when they say we've heard from people in our community. Can we talk to them, please? Could you put faces, usernames? Because I really would like to talk to them. I mean, no, really, I just want to talk. I don't want to fight or nothing. I just want to talk and figure out why sharing content that's already on the platform, especially a piece too that's getting great engagement, or maybe it's a piece that's not getting the best engagement and you're kind of helping it along by sharing it in stories. Why is that such a problem? But nonetheless, let me share with you some other people who share my sentiment on this. Now, let me show you this. This is over here on Twitter. It's amazing to me how I often have to go to Twitter to share with you news about Facebook and Instagram. But the conversations that we're having on Twitter are, in many cases, are a lot more engaging, but especially around social media. So let's look at this. This is Matt Navarra, and he just did his show uh, not too long ago. He does a show every week on Clubhouse at 11 a.m. Um, but look. Okay, so here's the post. Let me do this. So testing a change to sharing to stories. We want to hear. No, we hear. Not we wanna. We hear from our community that they want to see fewer feed posts in stories. During this test, you won't be able to add a feed post to your story. Okay, so like I said, who's in the community? Is there a whole section of the community we don't know a damn thing about? Because did they ask you? Did they ask me? And did they ask these people here? Now, Adele says, this is dumb. This means you can't even share anything except Instagram stories, which you're tagged in. Instagram, yet again, discouraging businesses and creators. People sharing my feed post is where I get most of my engagement. Yep. Now, Garcon Noir says, this is dumb. Sharing feed posts to stories is popular because IG's timeline is no longer in date order and people won't even know you posted something new unless they specifically go to your profile and or have post notifications turned on, a function that doesn't work 100%. Okay, we're gonna pass over the F bomb there because children might be watching. uh, what's another one? Chantel says, it's like they don't want us to use the app anymore. There's always new updates to kill our engagement. Shaking my head. Mm-hmm. Yep. Somebody says too, this is stupid. The algorithm has progressively turned the app into a showcase for the largest accounts and advertisements for shitty products. What a joke. Mm-hmm. Then let's scroll down. Now, DN says, I read all the comments and I don't know what you expect. Instagram, the new Facebook, both platforms want, I think he means your money, all of them. Facebook pages are horrible and the design is terrible. Instagram is following the same path. They will do the best they can to take money from you. And, and Chew.
Trust you will be dealt with. Period. Trust you will be dealt with. Period. Trust.
Okay, that's cute. All right. And then it says here, who's another one? It says Zuckerberg has the opposite of the Midas touch. This person, Lala, says, please listen to what the people actually using your app are telling you. If you take this away, how else are people going to see our post? You're murdering your own app with all these stupid changes. Once we find another app better than Insta, it's over for y'all. And then Fong says Instagram dead when founders left. So As you see, I am not alone in my thinking and in my feelings about this particular test that Instagram is doing. If I could be that person on the road that you're about to do something that you shouldn't do, and that person comes out of nowhere and says, "Don't do it," that would be me right about now. This ain't it. Instagram, this ain't it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just no. Allow people to continue to share other people's content in their stories. It's almost like if Twitter said, "You know what? We just gonna stop y'all doing retweets." What? Huh? What foolishness you say? That's how we're feeling about it. So whoever is in your community, maybe you need to listen to some more people in your in the Instagram community, because these people right here, they're not happy. Okay, so moving on. Let's move on because I want to wrap this show up pretty quickly now. So we talked about some of the major things that Instagram is testing right now. One, hiding likes per post. If you are part of this test, all you got to do is go right up there to the three little dots in your post, and when you get the drop down, you should see hide likes. If you don't, you're not a part of the test, and I do apologize. It's just a test, okay? The other part, TikTok is not TikTok. See, even I'm making the mistake. Instagram is testing using, instead of scrolling the horizontal way, I should say it that way, for your stories, they're testing scrolling up or down. Once again, looking like TikTok. The crazy part about that is there's so many people already sharing TikTok content on Instagram. Because even in Reels, they're sharing their TikTok to Reels with the TikTok logo. And it won't surprise me at all if in another week or two you'll get the notification. We need y'all to stop sharing the TikToks to the Reels. If you cannot create it here in Reels, then don't do it. Or they'll figure out a way to block it. How they'll do it, I haven't a clue. But don't be surprised if that doesn't come down the pike too. Then we've got the original content. Instagram has a right to want us to post original content, but the original content that's in the feed of other users has been available to us since the beginning. And sometimes we leverage that because as social media managers, content creators, one, you can give other people some shine, some other not platforms, but you can give some other people's profiles some shine. So it doesn't just help you, it helps them too. But it helps you because you just don't feel the weight of having to produce original content all the damn time. So that's three. So those are the things you need to keep an eye on with Instagram in the weeks to come. Now, speaking of weeks to come, this weekend is Super Bowl weekend. Curtis, you say, do you think hiding likes can benefit content creators and advertisers, or does hiding likes impact advertisers? As far as advertisers putting their content on around what you do, no, I don't think so. Not at all. Generally speaking, when you are crafting your ad strategy for Facebook and or Instagram, when you're in your Facebook admin and the back end of things, you're just basically targeting Facebook, desktop, Instagram, Instagram stories, uh, or Instagram feed. As long as, in many cases, you are putting that ad in places and spaces that align with your target audience, cool, not a problem. So you don't necessarily have to worry about whether there are lots of likes around the post or not. But when you get into influencer marketing, which is also a form of quote unquote advertising, or well, advertising and marketing are used synonymous, but technically they are not the same thing. Still, when it gets to influencer marketing, you got to get into this mindset of, I'm, say you're the influencer, right? And as an influencer, you are using your post as a way to say that you are an influencer. So you need that data, you need those likes. That indeed is true. But otherwise, as most advertisers, no. Your first thought is, I just want to make sure the placements of my ads are correct. Whether the post or the story, well in this case, and whether the post has a lot of likes or not, where my ad is popping up, that's not usually the thought you have until you get into influencer marketing, where you're paying somebody to post or promote your whatever it is you got, and then you want to see, well, how many likes are you getting on a post? Are you indeed an influencer? What's your engagement? Otherwise, no. So thank you for that. That's a good question. Thank you for that question. All right. So not Instagram, but YouTube. It's a it's a platform a lot of time we overlook. And we love YouTube to a degree, but we love YouTube because that's where we go to watch, replays of stuff. That's a given. We watch YouTube to find our how-tos, how to do your hair, how to clean whatever it is in your house, how to fix things. Okay? YouTube is also its own social media platform unto itself. It doesn't need Facebook. It doesn't need TikTok. It don't need nobody else. It's a standalone social media platform, not just a video hosting platform. So that's one piece to that. That said, when it comes down to your favorite shows, you missed it, and you're like, damn, I missed that scene, or I missed that particular performance. The first thing you run to is what? Probably YouTube for me, and then secondly might be Facebook to see if anybody posted it. All right. Now, when it comes down to sports, it is a big sports weekend with the Super Bowl. That indeed is true. Okay. So, and then we got the Olympics coming up too. YouTube has the partnerships with some of everybody in major sports. That includes the NFL. That includes, who else does that include? Some of everybody in sports. Let me get my notes here so I don't say the wrong thing. So the NFL is a given. The NBA, WWE, um, baseball. So there are plenty of major professional sports leagues using YouTube to post their replays of content and things of that nature. So YouTube has said, you know what? In the last couple of months, we've seen a big uptake in how many people are watching the sports content on the platform. So what we're going to do is we're going to revamp the whole thing. We're going to revamp the youtube.com/sports. Now, a lot of you probably don't know this too about YouTube. YouTube has certain sections. A lot of you just go to youtube.com and you search. Okay. But what you don't know is, well, a lot of you don't know, YouTube has certain communities. It's a sports community. There's a fashion community. What's the other? Oh, and there's a music. So if you just want to focus on music on YouTube, youtube.com/music. Or if you want to focus on fashion, youtube.com/fashion. So with sports being what it is, and especially with a lot of your maybe some of your sports channels declining in viewership, or not only are they declining in viewership, some of the stations are just gone, because we know ESPN has been going through some changes, a lot of changes. So now you can think about going over to youtube.com/sports, and I'll show you just a minute what it looks like. And there, whether you're on your mobile phone or whether you're on your desktop, you can get exclusive live games, yay, other premium content, which means you have to pay for it, from the top leagues in the world, which is cool, and a lot of premium content from your favorite athletes. I don't necessarily have a fave athlete, but nonetheless, I still love to go over to YouTube to see certain things. That's going to include clips from what? Super Bowl. They're coming. You know they're coming. Now, if you are thinking I'm going to be able to see this on my TV too, no, got to stop you there. YouTube.com sports is accessible through the Explore tab on your mobile device, or you can go to, like I said before, the YouTube.com sports /sports, you know, on your computer. But this experience isn't yet ready for TV, but it's coming. I know a lot of you like to watch your sports on the big screen TV, and some of you even watch YouTube content on your big screen TV. So it is coming. So Google says this comes as people want to engage with sports content beyond the game, and that's something we're going to want to do for the Super Bowl. The way we watch video has forever changed. Not only are streaming platforms edging out linear TV as our primary viewing destination, and that is true, we are forging traditional prime time and immersing ourselves in content that's most relevant to us. And that indeed is true. I mean, that's a nice way to say um, we're watching more and more stuff online around our interests. Not that we're still not, a lot of us are watching TV, that's a given. But a lot of us too, when we're cutting the cord and everything else, we're probably finding that we're watching more content online than many instances than we're watching it on traditional TV. So YouTube is taking advantage of that. So let's go ahead over here to the sports channel so y'all can see it. Since they revamped it, a lot of y'all won't even know that it's revamped. It's gonna look for a lot of you, it's gonna be new. You won't know what the old one even looked like, which is probably a good thing. So let's show you this right at the top, hitting you with the good stuff right from the beginning. Here you go. So you got Lakers at the Hawks full game February 1st. They got highlights there. They got, let's see what else is up here. They got the Wizards, they got the Lakers, they got is that soccer up here? Professional soccer. Okay, cool. They got games from other countries. They got the UFC fight highlights. I saw that on Twitter before, way before I watched it on YouTube, because the clips from that were pretty good. And what else you got up here? They got top stories, NBA picks, deep dive. Okay. So I suspect they're going to have some highlights from the Super Bowl and everything else up here in the days to come. So if you missed the Super Bowl for whatever reason, and some of you don't even watch the Super Bowl to begin with, but should you happen to miss some of the highlights, that's where you can go to catch some of the things that are going to be buzzing in sports news and regular news post Super Bowl. So that's it, people. That's a wrap. And once again, I don't have my ready clapboard. Got to do better with that. Anyway, so imagine this is a clapboard. And that's it. That's a wrap. Check the gate. We out. Okay. So that said, thank you to everybody for coming through, for watching the replay. For those of you that popped your head in, thank you for doing that. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything or anybody. No. So Daniel Myers, thank you for coming through. Curtis, thank you for coming in and sharing your commentary. For those of you that were lurking, I see you. I appreciate you too. But you needn't be afraid. Come on in. The water is warm. And be sure and just feel comfortable to comment, okay? Because a lot of what you probably have a question about or comment about, a lot of other people do too. So don't feel like you can't comment or you don't want to comment, or some of you are just shy, and I get that too. But nonetheless, thank you. Have a good weekend. People, please be safe. Please. I know. Some of you are going to go to the Super Bowl party. Somebody's going to have a little gathering, a little something, something at the crib. You're going to have your wings, your beer, your pizza, all of that. But could you add your masks and some social distancing to the menu so that you can stay safe? Okay. All right. So thank you again for coming through. If you have a question, comment, put it in the comments below the post, or hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on YouTube, because it's streaming in both places, at least for now. So hit me up there. I will get to it, answer it as best I can. See you next week. Bye bye.